Hi, welcome to Ed Foodie. Today we're going to make a main dish. It's going to be orange chicken. Um, it's not going to be necessarily a Chinese version. It's going to be more of an Americanized version. I don't even know if orange chicken is a real Chinese dish. Usually the Chinese don't like real sweet stuff. Of course, when you go to the Chinese buffets, orange chicken is pretty sweet. I'm going to try to tone this down a little bit by using sugar-free orange marmalade rather than the regular marmalade, and let's see how it turns out. Let's get started. First thing we want to do is take our chicken. I'm going to use maybe 1.5 pounds, and what I want to try to do is maybe use some thighs as well as some breasts. Yeah, so we got 2 pretty good thighs and 1 kind of small breast. So we're just going to chop these up into, pretty big chunks. And actually what I want to do here is make these chicken chunks. I'm going to make them a little big because this is going to be done in a crock pot, by the way. I'm also going to put in some bell pepper, onions, and carrots. The vegetables will probably take maybe 4 hours to get really soft. Although I don't want them too soft, I want them a little crunchy. So the chicken, I don't want it cooked too quick, and I want to put them all in at the same time. So I'm going to make these chicken chunks a little big. That way it'll take about 4 hours in the crock pot, and I think that'll be just fine for the vegetables as well. In a medium-sized bowl or large bowl, I'm going to put in, I'm just going to start with 1/3 cup of cornstarch. You don't really have to measure this because all we're going to do is put the chicken in there and coat it. But we don't want to waste it either. So to our cornstarch, we'll add some salt and pepper. I'm not going to put too much salt because the sauce is going to contain soy sauce. So let's just put in maybe 1/2 teaspoon. We can always add salt later. And then some fresh pepper. I don't know, let's put a teaspoon. And then mix the salt in there good. All right, let's just put our chicken in here. Get it all coated good. All right, over at the stove top, we'll put our burner on medium. Add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. I'm gonna wait for this olive oil to get nice and hot. I don't want that oil soaking in the cornstarch. Let's put in our chicken. You want to use a pretty big frying pan. You want to try to get this chicken in one layer so we can get it nice and brown on each side. So we're going to fry this about 3 minutes on each side. It's been about 4 minutes. Let's flip these over, see what they look like. Yeah, they're starting to brown a little bit. You can feel when you turn them over, they get like a little crispy coating on top. All right, let's, while this cooks for the remainder of 3 or 4 minutes on this side, let's do our sauce real quick. First thing we want to do for the sauce, we're going to take a little bit of olive oil and just kind of coat the bottom of your slow cooker. I coated the bottom a little bit on the lower sides just to make sure that cornstarch doesn't stick in there. Now to make our sauce, we'll start with our orange marmalade. Like I said, I'm using the sugar-free. If you like the American version where it's sweeter, go ahead and use regular marmalade. And we'll put in 3/4 of a cup. To our orange marmalade, we'll add a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. It'll give it a nice little nutty flavor. We'll put in a teaspoon of minced garlic. I'm just going to use the bottled kind. Let's stir this up. Get a nice blended sauce. All right, looks good. Let's set the sauce aside. And because I'm going to add some of these vegetables, I want to put the vegetables on the bottom, so hopefully they'll cook a little quicker. I've got a half of a bell pepper, and again, you know, these kind of cook down, so I'm just going to maybe slice them in half to get, you know, fairly nice sized chunks. We'll put these in the bottom of the slow cooker. I've got some baby carrots. So I've got about 14 of these. I'm gonna cut them in half. Again, just so that maybe they'll cook a little quicker. And again, I like my vegetables a little crunchy. If you like them like well done, what I would do is saute these for maybe 1 or 2 minutes in a frying pan and then put them in here. Then you'll get them nice and soft. And we'll put in a couple of slices of onion. That's about 1/4 of an onion I've got here. I cut it into thirds and then into thirds again, just to get some little chunks. We'll take our chicken, add it to the crock pot or the slow cooker. We'll take our sauce, pour the sauce on top. What I want to do, because the sauce already is kind of thick, so I'm going to go ahead and pour in about 1/3 of a cup of water, and that'll make sure it gets down there and covers the vegetables good, and it'll take that water to really kind of soften them up. And then as the chicken cooks, of course, that cornstarch is going to thicken up any liquid you put in there anyway. I'm going to put it on low, cook it for 4 hours. Before it's ready, we'll cook up some rice and we'll be ready to go. Strictly optional. I've got a half of a jalapeno I know I'm not going to use, so let's go ahead and throw it in here. Again, cut the half in half and then cut it into 4ths for just some nice big chunks. We'll use this more for flavor than anything. There we go. All right, 4 hours on low, we'll be ready to go. It's been cooking 2 hours, about halfway through. I want to just stir this up a little bit, just to make sure all the chicken gets covered well. Chicken's been cooking for 4 hours. My rice just finished, so we'll dish up a little bit of rice first. Smells good. I'll try to get a little bit of white meat and dark meat. Looks good there. I'm going to go ahead and top this with some chopped green onion. And some toasted sesame seed. Beautiful.
try this one or you try like?
Yeah, I got white meat and dark meat in there. Orange chicken, so it's not too sweet. I thought you'd like this a
Yeah.
little better than what you get at the buffets. Isn't it?
Yes. Good.
All right.
Thank you.
So there we have our orange chicken recipe. That orange marmalade, by the way, has, I think it was 5 grams of carbohydrates per tablespoon, so not too bad. You know, if you figure out how much per serving, actually less than the amount for the cornstarch. So if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to Ed Foodie right over there. Thank you for watching.